errors here. I'm just going to delete those. This task of writing a literature review is getting you to do all of these things, comparing and contrasting, giving examples, explaining, and so on. So you are developing a lot of different skills in this task. Okay, as we said before, if you have written a literature review, it means you are an expert on the topic. Okay, so you are finding out what has been written and you are giving some overview of the key ideas. You are writing about the relationships, what is similar between those articles and what is different. You're also looking for the limitations of the research, because maybe there's something about work integrated learning that we don't know already. Okay, work integrated learning. If we think about this field, maybe it has changed a lot, because I'm working right now and I'm working from home. So I'm thinking, if I have to research work integrated learning, I'm thinking about students going on placements, and a lot of people are working from home. What does that mean for students? Do they go to someone's home, or does it mean it's less possible to do will? Is that a challenge of will? Maybe that is a question we can think about in the literature review. Okay, so you're going to become experts on this topic of work integrated learning. Where does this work integrated learning normally happen? How is it set up? What are the best ways to set it up? What are some limitations in the research? Okay, does all the evidence say the same thing? Maybe one article says the best way to set it up is at the end of the semester. One says it's better to do this at the start of the semester. So we're looking for those differences and similarities. And if there are differences, we are using our critical thinking to consider why. Okay, so that is what we are doing, a lot of linking information together and using your critical thinking brains. All right, we have been talking about those 3 research questions. We're going to look at the criteria sheet next week, but it is really important you always have those 3 research questions in mind, because your literature review will give some answers to those. Okay, a reminder that you are looking for 3 additional sources. We have given you 4 articles already. They are in QUT readings. And you need to find 3 more peer-reviewed articles that can help to answer the research questions. Okay, so I'm just going to paste the questions into this slide as well. Okay, they are the questions your literature review is going to answer. Okay, so keep these written somewhere or pasted somewhere, because you're going to answer those in your literature review. All right, right now I'm going to show you a sample literature review. It is on the learning site on Blackboard, and it is stored in the literature review folder. And I just want you to have a look at the layout of the literature review, because, you know, we just did an annotated bibliography. That was a particular kind of writing, and this kind of writing is really different. So I'm going to show you a document, a literature review, and I'm going to scroll down, and then I'd like you to let me know in the chat box what you notice about it. Maybe it's different to your annotated bibliography, and how is it different? Maybe it's different to an essay. So how is it different? Literature review is a very particular kind of task. So I'm going to share the document with you now. It's an example literature review. I'm going to scroll slowly down the document and then tell me what you notice about this kind of writing. How is it structured, and what is the layout. All right. Here we go with a sample literature review. I'm going to turn off my video and I'm going to scroll slowly. I'll give you 1 or 2 minutes to look at this. And then you can tell me how it is structured. What is unique about this kind of writing? I'll just make it a bit bigger. You don't need to read this. We're just looking at this style of writing. We're looking at the structure. We're looking at the formatting. So we're looking at the referencing. I'm going to turn off my video. I'm going to scroll down, and then you can tell me what is unique about this kind of structure. All right, so that is an example of a literature review. It's a different topic. It's not the topic of will, but the structure is the same. Excuse me. The structure is the same. The word count is the same. So what can you tell me about this kind of writing? It looks very different to an annotated bibliography, doesn't it? Tell me in the chat box what is different. What do you notice in the font? What do you notice in the layout or organization? Could anyone give me some detail in the chat box? Okay, yep, I agree. It is totally different. What is different about it? Let's just identify some of the differences. Fantastic, Meiji. Excellent. We've got subheadings. Well done. What else do we have? Fantastic, Huiyang. We have citations in text. Brilliant. Yeah, we didn't have citations in text for your annotations. Yes, well done, Yuklun. Excellent. Subtitle. We have clear paragraphs that are titled or sections that are titled. We have in-text citations and reference list. Well done, everyone. Yeah, you've identified the differences and all the key requirements. So we do have an introduction here. Okay, and in the introduction, we do see a citation or two. So we see a citation here. I also see the word review. Okay, so you can say this literature review. You also see here, oh, this writer included 7 articles or studies in the literature review. Okay, so we're going to go into more detail about an introduction in a few weeks, but there are some required components there. well done for identifying that there are very clear headings, but also subheadings. Okay, so there are two subheadings which are connected to a main heading. Okay, so we have a main heading here. In this case, it's grammar, and subheadings are verbs and sentences. Then we have another main heading here, which is use. And then we have a subheading, context, and then we have another subheading. So the structure is very unique. Okay, we have that main heading and then two connected ideas. Well done for noticing that we do have in-text citations here. Let's see how many. We have about 2, 3. How many do we have in each section? We have quite a few, don't we? We have about 3 or 4 in-text citations in a section of a literature review. Okay, so that's important to remember because this is the kind of thing you will be writing and about the same word length. We also see here a conclusion, which is missing a full stop, and there's no in-text citation in the conclusion. And then we see references at the end. We see those 7 articles there. Something that we'll talk about over the next few weeks are those themes or headings or subheadings, because your subheadings and headings, they are really up to your own critical thinking, what they are going to be. So we'll do some practice brainstorming over the next few weeks. But your headings and subheadings, that will be up to you. There is no rule what your subheadings or headings should be. But don't forget, when I've finished reading your literature review, I will have an answer to the 3 research questions. So that is the goal. All right, we will come back to this document over the next few weeks because in the tutorials together, we'll practice writing an introduction, and we'll also practice putting all the different articles together for a section. We'll also look at the kind of language we see in the literature review because it's quite unique. It's really different to the language you used in your annotations. No, we have phrases like several studies, most research. So this is you as a writer linking the studies together. So those kind of words and phrases, we would expect you to be using the literature, research, articles, that kind of phrasing. Yeah, this document, yes, it is there, Judith. So if you go to the literature review folder, I think it is the very first document. So it's called Example Literature Review, and it's the first document there. So yes, that one is available online. All right, so that's the kind of thing you're going to be submitting, but we do have many, many weeks. And also those summary notes are going to help you. So what I see here in this paragraph is a lot of information, really detailed information about articles. So doing the summary notes is a step towards those sections or paragraphs, because what you see cited in text there are the findings. Okay, for example, blah, 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 there's different levels of daily, 2%. They are the findings from this research. 25%, that's the finding. So yeah, I mentioned in the summary notes, your findings are going to be really important because that is how you are going to link the studies together. All right, so we can see that it's a really different task to an essay, or very different task to your annotation. It really requires those steps along the way, and it's going to require your critical thinking in linking the studies together, in doing some research and selecting useful articles, and in linking your research together and linking it to the 4 articles we've given you. All right, are there any questions at this stage? How are you all feeling about the literature review? Let me know in the chat box. How is everyone feeling? Yeah, it's long. I agree, Judith. 1,200 words. It is long. How does everyone else feel about the literature review? Judith, are you the only one awake? I'm going to give you a few options here, everyone. Okay, how do you feel, everyone? Do you feel okay? Do you feel worried? Another answer was it's long. Okay, well, that makes sense. If you are giving you a few options there, some of you is feeling sad. How do you feel so far about this assignment? I'm going to ask you every week. Let's see if we see some improvements. Okay, some people are worried. Some are saying it's long. Yeah, Li Huang Cheng, it is. I agree. This is difficult, but I know you can all do it. We're going to be doing it step by step. Your summary notes will help you. I'll be looking at your writing. We'll be discussing the task. We'll be practicing linking the studies together in the tutorials. All right, so it seems like, Merlin, what about you? Hey, and Bowe, what about you? Rakad, Wendy, Jinyan, and Yinglan, how are you feeling about this task? Yeah, there are many steps to it, definitely. All right, so most of you have answered. Thank you for your responses. Rakad and Jinyan, still to hear from you, and Bowe. All right, so this is what we have. Still waiting on a few answers, but most people say it's long. Yes, it's long. I'm glad to see some of you think you can do it step by step. I think in week 1 of QCD210, everyone thought, oh my goodness, an annotated bibliography, what is that? And now all of you have submitted your annotations. So well done. And it shows that you have learned a lot already in just 4 weeks. And hopefully it shows you or reminds you that what you needed to do in the assessment, we practiced, especially in the tutorials.